Hello and welcome back to the show, my friends. Welcome back to a brand new Realm News, your podcast for all things Minecraft. I am your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. It is so nice to see you all again. I hope your November is going well so far and that you are all staying warm. I know that I am. Although it's been a very warm autumn here in Kansas so far. I'd like to first state that today's episode is going to be shorter than usual. Unfortunately, I had to get some work done at the dentist this week, and I had a couple other things pop up. C'est la vie, mes amis. It may be a short episode, but it's a very interesting one. Today, I will be reporting on the Minecraft Amethyst Crystal and all its uses. This will all be linked to the reel, where I will explain the human connection with this crystal. It has a very rich history that stems all the way back to ancient times and is still used today. I will explain all that and more. This all comes after our weekly poll. You will not want to miss poll time this week, folks. It is about Minecraft armor. Are you all ready to learn about Amethyst in the overworld and on Earth? I'm ready when you are. Let's start the show. Welcome to a brand new poll time, where I get feedback directly from the Minecraft community. This week I posed this question: what type of armor do you wear? I also clarify that this armor is not enchanted. I was curious what the everyday Minecraftian wore around the overworld. Let me tell you what I wear typically first. I always have on iron armor from head to toe. It seems to be a great economical choice for me since I have an iron farm. This question earned a total of 34 votes this week, about average, I would say. I appreciate all the people who showed up for it. And you can take the poll at Realm News' subreddit that I typically post on Saturdays. You can find that at my link at bio.link/realmnews. I'll put that in the show description for all of you to find. Now, let's begin with the results. I will start with the loser of the poll with one lonesome vote, and that would be the leather people. Which, kind of shocked me because leather is a very popular type of armor to have when you first enter the game. I mean, I know that I wore it for the longest amount of time until I found an abundance or acquired an abundance of iron, and then I started sporting iron constantly, especially after my constructing my iron farm, and now I'm just full-time iron suit, and I enchant that all, but we aren't talking about enchanted armor in this week's poll. So I was a little bit shocked to see that I just got one vote since there's a lot of new players coming into the game of Minecraft, and I would figure maybe they just didn't take the poll. Maybe the new players didn't find the poll and vote on that. So I was a little shocked by that, and I have to say this. It was kind of funny that I was roaming around my world and I went to Seatown, my very first city that I built, and I opened up one of my old chests in a room, and I found a leather chest plate, and I just laughed. It must have been sitting there for about a year and a half in that chest with a bunch of other, I think I found a stone sword. A stone axe. I was like, wow, how was I ever using this stuff before iron? Now everything's iron, and some of my tools are diamond now. But so I'm just saying that because I understand if you are wearing leather. I'm not trying to criticize anybody wearing leather. I certainly did when I first came into my overworld. Now, let's move on to the next ranked choice. The second to last choice is netherite. It came in with 10 votes. Which is a lot more than one, but I can see why this came second to last. This is the most expensive suit of armor that one can possess in Minecraft. It takes a lot of mining in the nether in order to get netherite scraps. I think I have only managed to find 2 scraps worth of netherite my whole entire time in the nether, which has been quite a while. I was impressed that 1/3 of the voters out there run around in netherite armor. I am happy for you people. Now, moving on to the second place winner. Well, I should say there isn't a second place winner this week. Instead, we have a tie for first between iron armor and diamond armor. They both came in with 12 votes each, and that makes some sense to me in a way. I still thought that iron would have won, because it is so much cheaper than diamond, but I guess people mine a lot of diamond. I mine diamond as well, and I have a decent amount, or so I thought, but I only use my diamond for making pickaxes, swords, axes, and enchantment tables. I die too often, and I cannot afford to lose all those diamonds every time. Also, as I've already mentioned, I have an iron farm, which grants me access to an unlimited supply of iron that I use to make most of my tools, weapons, and armor from. Now that you know the results and my personal opinion behind them, I would like to move on to the part where I get to read off comments from the Minecraft community. I would like to start with a person who goes by StoneKid33. Quote, I used the grind wheel duplication glitch a while back in my main world on Bedrock, and now I have an insane amount of diamond armored tools and diamonds. I haven't had to mine for diamonds, and I've been playing continuously for a few years now since that point. Sometimes I even find myself wearing chain armor. What I'm getting at? Well, I'm glad that netherite came out because I was getting bored. End quote. Ha! Well, I'm sure you were getting bored if you had access to an unlimited supply of diamonds. That's crazy. I've never heard of a grind wheel duplication glitch before. I'm glad that you are enjoying a new challenge of finding netherite, my friend. Thank you for that comment and happy crafting. Moving on to the next comment. This person is anonymous. Quote, chainmail. I like the way it looks. I also died in my netherite armor explosions, so I don't have any at this point. End quote. Ooh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear about you losing all of your netherite armor. I hope that you find some more netherite soon. I forgot all about chainmail. Chainmail is a very fun armor to wear. It is also uncraftable. Chainmail can be collected from killing hostile mobs that are wearing it. It is really rare to acquire, and I have only obtained a few pieces of chainmail from my monster farm. I almost forgot entirely about chainmail until they made that comment. The last comment comes from a fellow who goes by the name of apprehensive_hat 8986. Quote, had to vote iron on a technicality. My actual day-to-day armor is enchanted netherite with a swap-on-demand enchanted helmet, netherite/turtle/gold, and elytra as the situation demands. I couldn't just put netherite though, as per the poll. I never have netherite that isn't enchanted. On the road to getting that netherite, I'll wear whatever I can get. End quote. Another netherite fan. It appears that all my commenters wear netherite. It's the strongest in the game, so that makes sense. I'm just a little bit amazed by that, though, because it's so expensive. I would be like that one commenter and die and lose it all. Also, I do not see myself mining for netherite in the nether. It requires too much time in that dimension. I personally see it as being the most dangerous dimension in the game, and I haven't even been to the end yet. Thank you, apprehensive_hat 8986 for that great comment. And happy crafting, my friend. That is the last comment that I have for this poll, which means that poll time is concluded. Don't worry, there will be another next week. Now, it is time to take a visit to the real part of the show, where I link the real world with the game of Minecraft. Welcome to The Real, my friends. Today we are talking about amethyst. From the pictures that I have seen online, it looks just beautiful. And I believe that when I was a young kid, my parents bought from a gift shop on vacation somewhere a small amethyst geode for me. I thought it was just simply beautiful, with a range of purple hues in the crystal formations. They supposedly come in a range of colors, from a pale purple to a dark reddish purple. However, the ones I have seen online resemble the ones in Minecraft. They are a majestic purple, and very difficult to describe unless seeing it. They look just simply pretty. But what exactly is amethyst? Is it a stone? A crystal? Well, I found an appropriate website to answer that question. gemsociety.org says that amethyst is a crystalline quartz, so it can be called both a stone due to it being a quartz and crystal due to its crystalline structure. I will be using the words stone and crystal interchangeably when referring to amethyst. I just wanted that to be let known, just to clear up any confusion. Now, moving on. Another article that goes further in depth into amethyst, titled The Emergence and History of the Amethyst Gemstone, found at angara.com by Meyer S., October 2024. The name amethyst has a fascinating meaning. It has its origins from Hellenistic Greek time period. It derives from the Greek word amethystos. The prefix a, meaning not, and methisko, meaning intoxicate, combined means sober or not drunk. The ancient Greeks and Romans believed that the amethyst would keep you from getting drunk. It is still, to this day, considered the sobriety stone. In fact, the Greeks and Romans would adorn their drinking goblets with amethyst to help keep them sober. Soldiers would also wear amethyst because it was believed that amethyst would keep you clear-headed. And this was a great thing to have a clear head while in combat. Not only was amethyst used to prevent drunkenness and to keep a clear head, but because of its unique color purple, which was a very rare color and just a rare color in antiquity, it was associated with royalty and the church. It was common for kings and queens to wear amethyst alongside with bishops of the Christian faith. Because if you remember Realm News' very first episode, then you would all know that purple is the color of royalty and also part of the cleric's regalia in the Catholic Church. And just the whole entire church, purple is very, just go listen to Cleric's Cloak episode 1 if you want to find out more about Cleric's regalia and the color purple. Now, I would like to brief you on how amethyst forms. Amethyst forms in an interesting way. The whole process occurs in geodes, or hollowed out rocks, I should say. Amethyst forms through a distillation process when mineral-heavy water, gases, and volcanic debris distill and harden inside a geode. This forms the amethyst crystal. This formation results in a very, very hard crystal. It scores a 7 on the Mohs scale of hardness. For those who are not familiar with the Mohs scale, it is a method for testing the hardness of minerals. It is a scale with a range between 1 and 10, 1 being the softest and 10 the hardest. A diamond, for example, scores a 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness, which is as tough as it gets. Amethyst, having a durability of 7, makes it a great crystal for jewelry. It is used for making earrings, pendants, bracelets, and rings. They can also be sliced to make beads and bracelet cuffs. In fact, the scarab-shaped amethyst bracelet that is dated back to 3000 BCE was found in an Egyptian pharaoh's tomb, and amethyst was chosen as the centerpiece to the crown jewel during its restoration in 1660 under the rule of King Charles II in England. Also, there's a myth that Saint Valentine had an amethyst ring with a cupid carved into it. Those are just a couple famous examples of amethyst used in jewelry. I found another article that provides more interesting facts on amethyst. Found at IGI.org, or the International Gemological Institute, titled 3 Fun Facts About Amethyst by Angie Butler. They go on to explain that amethyst is a peculiar crystal, for it can change colors drastically when heat treated. Amethyst gets its purple color from the presence of iron and manganese in it. But if that purple crystal is placed under extreme heat, let's say 500 degrees Celsius or 932 degrees Fahrenheit, then it will change to a citrine color, which looks a lot like gold or honey. It looks quite beautiful. Natural citrine-colored amethyst is very rare to come by. Most of the citrine amethyst that you see today is heat-treated by humans. The rarest color of amethyst on Earth is called Deep Russian, and the price of this is set by collectors who are scouring the world for this rarity. It's just extremely expensive. Moving on from the amethyst hue, I would like to expand a little more on the spiritual side of amethyst. I have already covered that soldiers would wear it in war because they believed it brought a clear mind, and that amethyst was used to adorn cups due to the fact that the ancients thought that it would keep them from becoming drunk. This gem is highly associated with clarity, spirituality, and wisdom. In fact, Buddhist monks use amethyst today during prayer and meditation. They say that the purple color of the gem produces a calming effect, which I personally can see having a calming effect. It is very pleasing to look at. In Tibet, they make amethyst into prayer beads just for this purpose. In the past, Buddhist monks would use amethyst to help cure disease and to diagnose it. This gem is also thought to increase psychic abilities. It is used often in balancing and healing chakras, especially the crown chakra, which is considered to be the center of spiritual awareness and the connection to the divine. Pretty important chakra, if you ask me. Today, amethyst, I am having a hard time with that word today, I'm sorry. Today, amethyst is primarily mined in several countries around the world, such as in Brazil, Uruguay, Russia, and Zambia. It is also widely celebrated by those who are born in February, for that's their birthstone. You February babies have a really great birthstone. I just want to say that. With that said, that wraps up what I have over amethyst for the real segment today. I would like to now move us into the realm of the show. So when you're ready, let's jump through that portal and go to my underground geode room and check out some Minecraft amethyst. Welcome to the realm, everyone. Don't mind those wind chime sounds. That's just the amethyst that you're stepping on. Or perhaps it is the song Infinite Amethyst by Lena Raine playing in the background. That does tend to play here in these unique, underground, massive geodes. Allow me to start off our journey into amethyst with its history. It all starts with Minecraft's founder, Marcus Persson, aka Notch. Notch, on May 21st, 2009, had made a list titled My List on Tile Types So Far, found at web.archive.org, under Tumblr blog titled Word of Notch. Now, let me proceed down here to this list. I don't know how credible web.archive.org is, but that was the reference given to me on minecraft.wiki. Notch has on this list a bunch of items that would eventually be seen in the overworld that I'm about to list off. Quote, snow, and then he goes on to write next to some of these. So he puts snow on top of topmost tiles, then ice on top of water, slippery, exclamation mark. Then he puts sand, glass, gravel, ore. Then they put next to ore, only iron, question mark. Then next, metal block. Then wood. Next to wood, they have trees as well, question mark. Well, of course not. Next, and last I have from this list, there's a lot more that I didn't put on here, but the next one that gets to amethyst or is crystal is what they have. And then they put, not sure if it has a use, but imagine finding a large slab of crystal underground, exclamation mark, end quote. And I don't know if they had amethyst in mind. Notch, I don't know if they had that in mind, but they have crystal, and that's the first mentioning of that in for the game of Minecraft. So that's why it starts off the history of this with this list. And I thought that was just interesting. I love reading stuff like that, just like this simple list that they compose. I just like that stuff, seeing where the origins of things came from. It's just fascinating, I think. Anyways, moving on. I like I said, I enjoyed reading that and seeing what they were thinking at that time. And it was just interesting to see that he was teasing around with the idea of some sort of crystal since the beginning of the game. Minecraft.wiki goes on, showing that amethyst was finally put into fruition 11 whole years later after that list. Yes, amethyst wasn't revealed until the October 3rd Minecraft Live 2020 event, which introduced the popular Caves and Cliffs 1.17 update. 1 month later, on November 4th, the amethyst buds and clusters made it into the game in Snapshot 20W45A Java. In the video that was presented at the Minecraft Live 2020 event, they show us where you can find the amethyst crystal. The amethyst buds and clusters can be found underground in large geodes. These geodes can spawn from anywhere between negative 58 near bedrock all the way to plus 30 near the surface of the overworld. And there's about 4% chance of one generating per chunk loaded in the world. They are quite rare, and from what I have experienced, they are very random to come by. The geode is a very unique room to find underground. It is composed of 3 layers. The outmost layer is composed of a smooth basalt, which that in itself is rather rare to find in the overworld. The next layer, moving into the geode, is made of calcite blocks, which is another rare Minecraft mineral that is only used for decor purposes. The third layer is the prettiest of them all. It is composed entirely of purple amethyst blocks, budding amethyst blocks, amethyst buds, and amethyst clusters. It looks very pretty. Exactly 8% of the surface of the amethyst blocks contained in these geodes will be made of budding amethyst. The amethyst cluster is what you want, the budding amethyst. Sorry, getting my stuff all mixed up. The amethyst from the budding amethyst block is what you want, and that is also the 4th stage of the amethyst crystal's growth. The other 3 stages prior to the amethyst cluster goes in this order: small budding stage, then medium budding stage, then large budding stage, and then that 4th one being that cluster. However, if you try to mine the amethyst bud before it's fully matured into a cluster, it won't drop anything. You just won't get anything. Mining a cluster with a pickaxe will drop 4 amethyst shards. Mining it with any other tool other than a pickaxe will only drop half of that amount, giving you 2 amethyst shards. Oh my gosh, this is a tongue twister for me. Please excuse my poor pronunciation with amethyst. Anyways, if you use any other tool besides pickaxe, you only get 2 amethyst shards. The most effective way to collect these shards is by using the fortune enchantment on your pickaxe. Fortune level 1 will give you a 33% chance of getting 8 shards per amethyst cluster, doubling the normal amount. On average, with this enchantment, it will drop approximately a little more than 5 shards of that. Now, Fortune level 2 has a 25% chance of dropping between 8 to 12 shards. It has an average drop of 7 with this enchantment. Fortune level 3 has a 20% chance of dropping either 8, 12, 16 shards when breaking an amethyst cluster, with an average drop of 8.8 shards per drop. And you will want as many as you can get. They are useful for crafting a few items: amethyst blocks, a spyglass, trim armor, calibrated skulker sensors, and tinted glass. Let me tell you about the spyglass first. The amethyst shard, when combined with 2 copper ingots, will create something called a spyglass. Fun fact: the spyglass, when first mentioned by Mojang at the Minecraft Live 2020 event, was referred to as a telescope. Somewhere down the line, before it was officially put in the game, it appears that it was switched to being called spyglass. I like the word spyglass. Sounds older, and I think it is a better fit for the game. A spyglass is a very unique object to the game of Minecraft. It can be a useful device. The spyglass is used to zoom in on an object that is already in view. It will not bring objects to your sight that is not already rendered. This can be quite useful. I use this for spying on pillager outposts in order to plan a strategy of attack. Also for zooming in on their outdoor cages to see if they have allays or iron golems held there. The spyglass to me is also useful for scouting out towns that come into sight. And a fun fact about my realm: in my palace, every guest room has a spyglass in an item frame. So guests can view the sand islands that dot my ocean and to check out the city of Limnos that the palace overlooks. Also, the spyglass, in my opinion, adds a certain flair to a room when hung up in an item frame. Makes you feel worldly. It's great for putting on display in your study or maybe in an outpost on a mountain. Moving on to the next item that can be crafted out of amethyst shards. The amethyst block. The amethyst block is very easy block to craft. If you have amethyst shards, it takes only 4 of those to make 1 amethyst block. The only use for amethyst block is for building material and decor. It makes for a beautiful building block when used appropriately. I have a perfect example of this in my kingdom. In Seatown, in the Gaia Divine district, my girlfriend, who goes by Gaia Divine in my world, built this amazing shopping district. It has a 2-story tall building that stretches about 50 blocks long. It has many shops there. But the cool feature that she incorporated in this design are the use of amethyst blocks. She put these down on the floor so when you enter the building and you step on these blocks, they emit a wind chime sound. It is very calming and melodic. It really sets a tranquil mood for when you shop. I can see these blocks being used in mystical type builds or fantasy designs of some sort. The unique purple hue that this block has and how light refracts off it, delivering a shimmering effect, is truly captivating. I highly recommend using this block in your world somehow. Now let's move on to the calibrated sculk sensors. A calibrated sculk sensor is something that requires a little bit of time to acquire, and I will not be elaborating on this too much today. That will be for another episode. But to make this, you will need 3 amethyst shards and a sculk sensor to make one. From what my rudimentary knowledge understands of this device, it is used by redstone enthusiasts for making specific contraptions that I am not familiar with. I know the absolute basics of redstone, but beyond that, I don't know much beyond just, activating rails. That's about it. I will have to brush up on it and do a lot more research into it before I make an episode explaining those mechanics. However, something I do understand and use often is glass, which brings me to my next item made of or with amethyst shards, which is tinted glass. Tinted glass is somewhat expensive. It's just a very expensive block. It takes 4 amethyst shards and 1 glass block. This will yield 2 tinted glass blocks that cannot be turned into tinted glass panes. I wish that was a feature. It would be, I think it would just be a nice aesthetic to have, or at least that's my opinion. The tinted block acts as an opaque block, but is still transparent. Mobs cannot generate on top of this block, and light sources will not shine through it. I find it to be a very nice looking block. I have yet to craft them, but I may end up doing that for one of my reflection rooms in my world. Let me know if you use tinted glass or not by reaching me at my bio.link/realmnews and click on one of the links provided. There you can find my Reddit, Twitter, now X, and Blue Sky accounts. There is one more thing that you can do with amethyst shards that I think is just really cool. You can put 1 shard with any armor trim and piece of armor in order to make an amethyst armor trim design. This trim will give your armor a purple glow where the trim pattern runs through the armor. I really want to make this, and I may do that today after recording. One more very interesting fact before I wrap up this episode. If you give an amethyst shard to an LA who is dancing to a jukebox, it will take a shard from you. Hold it for a bit, then eat it. After eating the amethyst shard, it will then duplicate itself. Isn't that just wild? Yes, it will split in 2, and this is a way of being able to generate more allays, which I just think is simply intriguing. I am sure that there are many theories swirling around that feature in the game. Now that we know which items to craft with amethyst shards, how do we obtain more of it? Let's talk about how to grow amethyst so you don't run out of this crystal. Growing amethyst takes much patience and is something that has to be done at the geode itself. This is not like farming other objects or mobs in the game. Inside of the geode, you will see that the interior is composed of all these purple amethyst blocks. They all look the same. Well, almost. The majority of these purple blocks are amethyst blocks, but a few, exactly 8% of those will be budding amethyst blocks, and these look just slightly different from plain amethyst block. Budding amethyst can be distinguished by the X on each of its sides. This X pattern is where budding amethyst forms and the 4 stages of its growth are carried out. This block is not craftable and it cannot be moved, not even with Silk Touch from what I understand on the minecraft.wiki article. So if you want to have amethyst as a renewable item in your world, you will simply have to wait for a random tick to generate a new amethyst bud. I recommend that when you find a budding amethyst block that you use a pickaxe with a silk enchantment if possible, and expose as many of the sides of the budding amethyst block that you can without breaking it. If you break the budding amethyst block, then you will lose that block forever. So be careful while doing this. Once you have exposed as many sides to the budding blocks that you can inside of the geode, this will increase the probability of the amethyst buds regenerating more on one of those exposed sides that I just discussed, hopefully giving you many more amethyst crystals for making items and blocks. With that said, that wraps up what I have over Amethyst for this week, my friends. I know that it was a short episode, but I hope that you all learned a thing or two from it. Amethyst is a beautiful crystal or stone that has been used by humans for millennia. From adorning bishops to kings and queens, heck, even an Egyptian pharaoh was buried with it. We wear this crystal for so many purposes. We believe that it contains healing powers and helps clears the mind. It is also great for aligning your chakras. The Greeks use it to keep them sober and adorn their cups with the mineral. We also covered the myriad of uses that amethyst has in Minecraft. Before doing the research on the topic, I only thought it was used to craft spyglasses. I had no idea that it could be used to make armored trims, calibrated skulkers, and the other items covered today. I am personally excited to try out the armored trim and roam my world like a true king. And I hope you are all inspired to build or craft with amethyst now yourself. If you have not found one of these rare geodes in your world yet, I encourage you to not give up. You will eventually come upon one. Especially since as players, we spend a lot of time mining for resources underground. That is how I stumbled upon mine. Sheer accident. I wish you all a great rest of your week. I will see you all next Tuesday for a brand new Realm News Flash, and then next Thursday for a new Realm News. Happy crafting, my friends. The Dark Lord signing out. Hello, Minecraftians. Thank you for listening to Realm News. It means the world to me that you enjoy the show that much that you tune in every week to hear how I put the real in Realm and expand your mind one block at a time. Well, if you really enjoy this podcast and want to express it further, then you can contribute by simply following the show by clicking that follow button, or write a review and rate the show, or do all three of those. I love the feedback, and that would help me get to my goal of 100 followers. You can even go a step further by making a monetary donation to support the show by going to bio.link/realmnews, all lowercase. Again, that's bio.link/realmnews. And click on the Ko-Fi button and buy me a coffee. You can donate as little as $1. The money really goes a long ways, folks, and helps perpetuate the show. I have plans to create a website so Realm News can be more accessible and interactive with our amazing community that is amassing. All is appreciated, truly, and happy crafting.